But if you apply at Mountain States, which covers Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Utah, man, you got to be able to essentially travel and drive in any one of those states. And if you're not 21, that's going to be an issue. Hello, welcome back to episode 21 of CTQ. CTQ is a segment I do on this channel called Cruise the Questions. This is where I take your guys' questions regarding the trades, how to get started, whatever questions you have, and I answer them here for you guys. Now, the cool thing about this is you guys who ask the questions probably aren't the only ones that have these questions. So hopefully by me answering the questions for you benefits others who have the same question or similar questions when it regards getting started in a skilled trade. A lot of these questions are, yes, related to the lineman trade. That's what I do for a living. I'm a journeyman lineman. I have been in the trade since 2017. I went through an IBW lineman apprenticeship in the Northwest, and I've been a journeyman since December of 2020. Now, your questions can be regarding anything. They don't have to be lineman specific. I have a lot of people that I can ask questions to if I don't know answers, whether that be regarding pipe fitting or welding or electrical or plumbing or HVAC, whatever your guys' questions are, I'll get the answers for you guys. With all that being said, you guys can submit your questions a couple different ways. You guys can email them to austin@bluecollaredu.com or go ahead and put them in the comments down below in this video, and I'll take those questions from email in the comment section. I'll answer them here for you guys. I like the comment section because that way you kind of get a community of people. Like if you ask a question, there's a good chance that someone who might have the answer will reply to your question in the comment section. That way you can kind of get a thread of people helping each other out. I like that community, helping each other out. That's a good stuff. So with all that being said, let's hop into episode 21 with question number 1. So question number 1, there's actually 3 questions. It's all from the same guy who commented on several different YouTube videos. And guess what? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer his questions because he kind of asked the same question in 3 different questions. So you know what? I'm just gonna help this guy out. The first variation of this question from at Hayden Wessa 3743, he says, hey, do apprentices under 21 get to work good amount of overtime at all? Do they even get a say whether they do or don't? Also, as an apprentice lineman, would you be able to travel and work lots of OT under 21 when your CDL is only good in your hometown state? So that's the first variation of the question. Another variation is, as someone who's 16, interested in the career and not wanting to go to college at all, how easy is it to get in? And are you able to still travel and work big hours when you're young and your CDL is no good outside your state border till you're 21? I would love to travel the country for a while working, but just wondering if that's doable at 18, 19, etc. The third variation of the same question is, as someone who's 16, I was wondering how young can you get in and how easy is it? Can you travel when you're only 18 and work lots of overtime? Or are you limited if you're only an apprentice and can't use your CDL outside state lines till 21? So it seems the basis of his questions are basically, hey, I'm under 21. Hey, I'm 18, 19, 20. How easy is it to get in? He's talking about the lineman trade because he commented these were all on different lineman related videos. And then being under 21 with your CDL not being good across state lines because it's not. So I'm glad he's talking about this because it's not, your CDL is not good across state lines until you're 21 years old. What are the opportunities, to work and travel? So from my understanding, and when I got into the lineman trade, into the apprenticeship, I wasn't 21 yet. So I had my Washington state license. My CDL was in the state of Washington. My first call as an apprentice was for in the state of Oregon. Well, that's an issue, right? I applied for the Northwest, which the Northwest covers Washington, Oregon, Northern Idaho, and Northern California parts. So I knew that there's a good chance that I could be sent to Oregon or, these different places to work. Washington isn't the only state. However, it's up to me. It's my responsibility to transfer my license from the state that it's in to the state that I need it in. So when I got called out for an apprentice in the state of Oregon, my license was in the state of Washington and I wasn't 21 yet. So I had to jump through all the hoops, which there was like a bunch of different hoops that weren't easy to jump through to get my license transferred from Washington to Oregon in a very short time period. So if you're looking to get into this trade, assuming that you do get a call out, you do get the opportunity to become an apprentice or a groundman or a pre-apprentice before you're 21, it's up to you to transfer that license to the state that you're working in. Now, if you become an apprentice at 18 years old, which is, I'm gonna say, is pretty rare. I've known, I can probably count on one hand how many guys I know that have gotten to this trade at 18 years old, right out of high school. Even 19, I got in when I was just shy of 21, I was 20. It's not that common, but maybe it's becoming more common. And the reason I don't think it's super common is because of that restriction, right? So if you apply with SWOLCAT or Mountain States, right, or any outside lineman apprenticeship, your CDL's, like he's saying, only good in the state you're getting if you're under 21. But if you apply at Mountain States, which covers Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Utah, man, you got to be able to essentially travel and drive in any one of those states. And if you're not 21, that's going to be an issue. So does the apprenticeship look at that when you do an interview as, hey, this kid's not 21 yet, let's wait? I don't really know how they structure that type of stuff, but it's up to you. If you do get called out, let's say you're a Colorado resident and you get called out to go to Utah and you're not 21 yet, hey, it's up to you to transfer your license to the state that you're going to be working in to be able to work in that state legally and drive trucks, right? So that's just a hoop that you're going to have to jump through, and we get called a risk that you're going to be willing to take if you're going to apply for one of these outside lineman apprenticeships. It doesn't even matter which one: CELCAT, ALBAT, NEAT, Missouri Valley, SWOLCAT, Mountain States, CalNav, or Northwest. That's just something, expect to travel, and with that, you got to expect to legally be able to drive in that state with your CDL. Now, the other side of the coin for that is, well, hey, if I want to become a lineman apprentice for my utility, let's say I live in Colorado and I apply with Excel Energy, there's a good chance that you'll stay within the state of Colorado, and if you're under 21, that you won't have to worry about it. The other part of the question he's asking about, can you travel when you're only 18? You can. You're just going to be responsible for, not legally being able to drive. Maybe the contractor you're working for is going to be like, hey, sorry, buddy. I mean, if it's temporary, maybe they have someone who is legal to drive you around, or maybe they're just going to be like, hey, figure it out. You know what I mean? And the issue is here is if you're not, I've run into this issue, and luckily it wasn't, you know what I mean? It didn't turn out to be a big deal, but they might just be like, hey, tough luck. We need you to drive this truck from Utah to Colorado or wherever across state lines, and your CDL is not legal. The thing about it is, if you get pulled over or if you get pulled into a weigh station for whatever reason, and you're crossing state lines and your CDL is not good because you're not 21, and they give you a ticket because of that, that's on you, right? So even though it sucks, your employer might have told you, hey, we need you to drive this truck. So you drive it anyway because you're an apprentice, and you're like, hey, what else am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do? Hire my own driver? There's a good chance that could happen. You're just going to have to do it. I've been put in similar situations where it's like, hey, I'm actually not legal to drive this truck. And I do it anyway because I don't really have a choice. And luckily nothing happened from that. So, there is that. But if that's a risk you're willing to take, that's a risk you're willing to take. You can always say, no, hey, I'm not doing that. And you guys can figure something else out. But that's if that were to happen. So, and then you're asking about overtime, work lots of overtime at 18. Are you limited to only, if you're only an apprentice and you can't use your seat outside? I mean, I don't know. Overtime comes to wherever you're working. I don't know if you're talking about overtime like storm work type of thing. But like, hey, if you're on a job working in Colorado or wherever and you guys are on 612s, hey, that's some overtime, right? Now, if you're talking about, hey, power restoration after a hurricane hits, I mean, the chances of you, going on hurricane at 18 for the contractor you're working for is pretty slim. It is possible, I'm not saying it is impossible, but your opportunity to work overtime and travel at a young age, I mean, I don't know. That possibility is there. I'm not sure really what you're getting on with that question. The overtime is possible. The overtime is there. Can you do it while you're 18, 19, 20, under 21? Yeah, you can do it. If you have to go through state lines to do it, there's a good chance that someone else might have to drive you or you might just have to risk it. I don't know. Those things, you have to kind of cross that bridge when that time comes. You also kind of ask, how easy is it to get in? At 18, 19, not that easy. I mean, for the most part, they're looking for individuals that have some experience already in life. But you might get lucky. You know what I mean? Like, how easy was it for me? Not that easy. It took me a couple years to get in. I had to jump through some hoops. I had to do everything, the procedure, signing the books, get a groundman job, getting experience, applying, interviewing several times. I had to go through all that, you know what I mean? And it wasn't that easy, but then I saw other people who just like, they were 19 or my age and they just interviewed once and they got in, a month later. So I don't know. It really all depends. How good you do on application, your aptitude tests, interviews, things like that. There's a lot of those variables that you have to account for when just saying how easy is it. It's easier for others and it's not so easy for others. So I can't tell you if it's easy or not. I would love to travel the country for a while working, if that's doable. You're not going to be traveling the country working. Like, you're not going to be going from New York to California, Montana to Arizona to Connecticut to Florida at 18, 19 years old. It's not really something very common to do, to tramp around and work all over the country at that young of an age. That's just reality. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about all that. You did ask how young you can get in. I mean, I don't know. You got to be 18 and graduate high school or have a GED. That's basically the youngest you can be is that age. So there's that. So yeah, I mean, the premises of the question is basically he's wondering if he's able to, under 21 with your CDL, be able to work. There's lots of them that do it. Hey, if you get transferred to a state, your CDL is not good and you're going to be responsible for either taking that risk or you're going to have to transfer your license or your legal, or the contractor might just lay you off and be like, hey, we don't want this kid because he's not 21 and he's not legal to drive in this state and he's not willing to transfer his license. So maybe you get put on the bench. Yes, you can work overtime. You can get in once you're 18 years old. So to answer kind of all of that, that's what I would say. All right, let's hop into question number 2. Question number 2 says, from @DannyVal266, hey man, I'm interested in welding or the trades in general. I want to make good money. I find welding kind of fun to look at, but don't know what type or where. But I do find TIG interesting and I want to work union. I just don't know if it's true of making that 100K easy or only 1% of the best who have 30 years of experience. Do I need cert to make the most? Do I join a school or do I go straight into the union? I'm 18, still in high school. Sorry in advance for not knowing anything too much. I wish you the best luck with your YouTube channel. Bro, don't be sorry. You're 18, you're in high school. There's not a lot of people in your position that know a whole lot, and I was one of them. So you don't have to be sorry. That's what you got, people like me and others out there who are willing to give you these answers to help you. So this question regarding welding, I'm no welding expert by any means, but I sent this question to the weld scientist, Nate Bowman, who is a weld professional. I said, hey, what advice would you give this kid, this guy? And this is his direct response. He says, the shortest route to the loot is working ASAP. True, you can make 100K. If you're in high school, your number one priority is landing that welding job as soon as you graduate. I'd recommend visiting the union and other shops before you even graduate. Don't waste your money on school if you can get a job welding, any job welding, and you'll learn more and get paid while building experience. So basically, I would tell him the same exact thing. Now, you know what I mean? You're in high school still, and you want to work in union, depending on where you're at, look up the UA, United Associations Welding, or a union near you. That's gonna cover, pipe fitters, HVAC techs, and plumbers, and you'll have a good chance to learn welding and build a career as a pipe fitter within the UA. If you want to already work union, that's where I would start. Like Nate was saying, at 18, still in high school, I would go visit the union. I would just try to get a job right out of high school in a welding shop. Like, that's actually what I did, because I thought I was going to do welding. That's kind of where I wanted to go, I thought anyway, before the lineman trade. And I honestly, that's what I did. I just went to a welding shop, a big fab shop in the town I grew up in. And I ended up getting a job there, basically on the shop floor. Started out just cutting metal for customers, cleaning up. I was, 18. I didn't have any experience welding or anything. To eventually started, learning more about welding, asking if I can, watch and learn and things like that. And then I got the chance to, do some welding and learn some basic stuff. But then at that point, I'd already figured out I wanted to do lineman trade, and then went to lineman school, and the rest is history. So that's where I would start. I would skip welding school, and I would try to find a job with a weld shop somewhere, whether that be fabrications or ornamental stuff, whatever the case may be. And then go to the union, apply with the union, UA. I would look for the UA in your area, and I would apply for their apprenticeship. And that's honestly the route I would take, and that's what I would tell you. Making that 100K easily, I don't know if that's easily doable. I know you can make 100K as a pipe fitter. Building up a weld pipe is a great skill to have, in the welding industry especially. And then with the union, you usually have higher rates, benefits and things like that. So to make that 100K, I think is possible. I don't think it's easily doable. Certs, I don't know. Like, you'll get certs if you look into joining the union, you'll get your 6G and those certifications you need to be a pipe fitter or to be a welder, essentially. You'll get that. So that's what I would say, and that's also kind of what the weld scientists would say as well. Yeah, take that from me and a welding professional who is all about helping the future generation of welders, lead them in the right direction. If he's telling you that's what you should do, then I would probably follow his lead, because that's basically the same route I would take as well. So hopefully you guys can learn from episode 21 of CTQ more about the lineman trade, can kind of get started at a younger age, and your CDL restrictions and things like that, how that kind of looks. And then if you want to become welding, kind of the route to take there as well. If you guys have any questions regarding any trades, like I said, go ahead and put it in the comment section down below, or email them, austin@bluecollar.edu, and I'll answer those questions on episode 22 of CTQ. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.